Okay, guys, this is part two of the aquarium maintenance video. This goes more into the canister filter. Now, the canister filter is usually a little more complicated, a little more time consuming, so this video takes a little bit longer. But it's very important to let you guys know that I want to clarify a couple of things. One is when I was explaining the canister filter, I wasn't telling you what the intake and outtake do. And so the intake is what sucks the water out of the tank. The outtake is what pushes the water back in. I wasn't making that clear. I don't know why, but so when you when you get to that point in the video where I'm showing you how to put where to put the outtake, when you plug the canister filter back in, I wanted to make sure you guys understood that I leave the outtake out of the water until the filter is primed and you got a good flow going. And that's why I stayed in the fish room. Once the flow gets going, you want to put that outtake into the tank. You can put it into the tank. Some people don't, depending on where your water level is. I keep all my water levels to the top of the to the top of the black. So if it goes lower than that, I usually fill it up. But in saying that, it's intake, outtake, and prime it. Now, when I went back into the room, I primed it like 5 times in a row. I got it to prime it good, and then it flowed pretty good. So just make sure you prime it good. I was going back and hitting it a couple times because I was talking too much. But usually you want to go in there and just prime it like 4 or 5 times in a row, maybe more than that. Wait, let it flow, and then put the outtake into the water. That's one thing I wanted to clear up. Another thing I wanted to clear up real quick was I was explaining to you guys about the nitrogen cycle, and ammonia spikes, and you crashing your cycle, and using air bubblers. Now, my main point of that is I wanted to make sure you guys know that you have to check. Very important to have a test kit. Get a test kit. Always want to check your water, and you always keep an eye on your fish. Look at them every day. That's what I do every day. I go in there, look at every single fish. If I see one fish that's struggling, then I know there's an issue. Okay, then I'll test the water. I usually don't test the water every day or every week. I just test it when I notice that it's something not looking good. I'm on a routine. Every month I will do a water change. Maybe more than that, but every month I do a water change. Every about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll check the mechanical filtration. So that's the way I do it. You can do it whatever way you like, but this is the way I do it. I'm just trying to help you guys and understand how I do it and what works for me. What works for me may not work for you. Everyone's different. But getting back to the nitrogen cycle, I keep an ammonia test kit. I keep a nitrate test kit. I check my pH level all the time. I do use, in almost every single one of my tanks, crushed coral. I use more in some tanks, less than some other. If you want to keep your pH level steady, okay, which means that it doesn't go up and down. You want to keep that to the point where it's not, it's always at a certain point. That's why I keep it so it stays at a certain level. But my most important test for me is the ammonia. So I know if my ammonia is high, I either got ammonia spike or my nitrogen cycle crashed. Now you can check if you notice that you got a high ammonia and you check your pH level and it's like way off, like you don't even know why it's like that, then you probably got a problem with your cycle. You could also check your nitrites, but I just know this: if your ammonia is high, then you got a problem with your tank. I don't have a problem with my nitrates. I do run plants in some of my tanks, but I don't have a problem with nitrates. I usually don't. If I do check them and they're high, I just do a water change. But the most important test kit you have is ammonia. Ammonia can kill your fish quick. But if your ammonia is off and your pH is off, you got something wrong with your cycle. That's the way I look at it. And getting back to the bubblers do help oxygenate the water, but it's not the only source of oxygen. Most of your oxygen is coming from your nitrogen cycle. If your if your parameters are off, your fish aren't going to be doing good. The reason why I run sponge filters and a bubbler is because I have, in case I have some problems with power outages here, I have 2 wireless pumps that I use. And they're charged up. If the power goes to go out, I can run the separators onto the pump, and my tanks will all still run. So that I want to clear that up real quick. I got to go because I don't want to make this video too long. But we have a winter storm coming here. It's going to be like 15 degrees this weekend. So I'm not going anywhere for Christmas. We're staying home. And plus, I'm not feeling so great. So we're going to be staying home, and the temperature is going to get low, so we're going to keep an eye if we have to use a space heater or not. I might make a video on that. I will show you guys what the temperature is this weekend, and we'll go from there. So just do me a favor, guys. I noticed I got a lot of views on this maintenance video. Like the video, though. I need the likes. If you don't like it, don't like it. It'll give me an idea of what videos are being watched and what aren't being watched. So if you like the video, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I usually tell you guys at the end of the videos. But I'll tell you in the beginning. So like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I had some good comments. Just make sure that you guys understand that if you view the video and you don't like it for me, it doesn't help me. It doesn't help my channel. I got a bunch of views. I got like four or five likes. So if you're not liking the video, then don't like it, unlike it, and we'll maybe change some stuff. But if I'm getting a good viewership, I like to know if we're getting if people like the video. All right, spread the word. So let's get to video 2, part 2 of aquarium maintenance. Stand by. That's a long fucking video, man. Anyway. Okay, we're back. So that is my canister filter. There's no label on it, but I believe it's a Fluval 207, or equivalent to. I believe it's in Marineland, so I'm not really sure what size it is, but I know I looked it up before, and when I maxed it up, it was for like a 125 gallon or higher. So I'm using it for the 75 gallon. I got this one for free. I'm not sure what tank. It was actually running the, I think it was the 75 gallon hexagon tank I had. So it's made for a higher, a bigger aquarium, but maybe it was a 107. I think 107 is a 75 and above. It's either 107 or 207. I looked it up. I believe it's a 207, but I could be wrong about that. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you guys how to change your canister filter. This box here is a box that I got. My finger got in the way there, but the box that I got here is one of these styrofoam boxes that you get from, when you get your food or whatever. I like to use this as a kind of a catch pan. So first thing you want to do is get this lined up, because you got to pick up that canister and put it here. So first thing you want to do is you want to unplug it. So I take the plug, go there and just unplug it. Oh, a second, guys. So it's unplugged. Okay, and before I do anything, I like to check to see that the suction is out of the water. Which is this one here. Take it out completely. That's what I do. You don't want to put it too close to the wires, but I pull it out completely and put it off to the side for now, because if you don't, it'll clog up the. It'll keep draining out when you unplug it, or when you try to open the tank up, and it'll keep gushing out water. So you always want to take the suction out of the tank, okay? And then you just want to take that filter and put it in here. I'm going to get my tripod so I could do this while I'm so I don't have to hold the camera. But yeah, the first thing you do is unplug it and then take the suction out of the water.
That's the first thing you want to do. All right, so hold on 1 second. Let me get my tripod. Okay, so we're down on the floor here. So I usually take this canister filter, pick it up, because it's up to the top. You always want to keep it in here. But I'll show you what happens. Try to get your cords out of the way. This is just anyway. Keep it in this box. I always save these type of boxes when you get food or fish or whatever. Once you open this up, you'll see the water comes out like that. Okay, which is normal. You got so much pressure build up in there, but you also want to make sure that, like I said, those are hanging up on the side there. You can see I took the suction and the inlet and outlet and put it hanging up there out of the way, so it doesn't backfill with water. Okay, because you'll get enough water in there anyway. So just take this whole lid off. Lift it up, and the biggest thing is, when I use these canister filters, the biggest thing is you'll see right there, all this is all dirty. You see that? See how much dirt that's in there? See how clogged it gets? So that's why I change it. Doesn't get big, and like I said, I'll just back down, guys. You see this bucket here, I use an old garbage pail. Take it out and just throw it out. I don't even bother trying to clean it. I'd rather just put new stuff in there. But what I do with canister filters is I do take these apart, and I make sure this still has water, so you want to make sure this is your when you prime it. You want to make sure that this stays out of, stays inside the bucket. So I usually just take these apart and go from the top. Take these out. This is your sponge. I don't really mess with the sponge that much. Only if it's clogged. These are bio balls. Bio balls I leave in there. And it looks like to me the water is a little dirty, so I'm going to take it out and rinse it out. So this is your ceramic media. So you got ceramic media, bio balls, and then you buy your mechanical filter. And I also use, in this tank, I use some carbon. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the sink and rinse this water out, because if you look to see, the water's kind of dirty. So let me empty this out, and I'm going to come back and show you how we put it back together. So now you can hear draining. I do have some water going on the floor, so let's put that, not the floor. This is why I like using the garage, because if I do spill stuff, you clean it up. Anyway, give me 1 second, guys. I don't want to go too crazy with any more, the length of the video. I'm almost there. So let me just rinse this out, and I'll show you what I do. Okay, guys, we're back. So I rinsed this out. That's your canister. I also put some water, fresh water, in this bucket here. I got my prime that I put in there. I put some prime in the water before I put it back into the canister. Or you can use any type of dechlorinator. I like to use prime. Anyway, got my water. Now you want to do is pretty much put it back to where you found it. So you take this, carbon goes in the bottom, ceramic media right on top of that. Bio balls, I always try to maneuver the bio balls. Sometimes they get stuck up on top and then it won't close it away. Put your bio balls back in there. Then you got your sponge, your coarse sponge, usually what they give you. And then this is the top piece that goes on. It goes over the top of your coarse sponge. So this happens sometimes. It gets uneven. Don't know why it happens, but sometimes you guys gotta maneuver it, fix it, and get it to where it's sitting right. If not, what will happen is there's something happening where it's not sitting straight. So we need to figure out why it's happening. So go in here and just fix it. And make sure that everything's sitting straight. For some reason, this doesn't want to sit straight. I don't know why. But anyway, it's still not sitting straight. I don't know why it's doing that. Maneuver it. Do what you gotta do. Adjust it. And then you want to take your polyfill and put it up on top. Now, people always ask me, well, it doesn't fit all the way. There's some space in between here. If you look down at the filter, there's like this little hole here. You don't want to cover that hole. So I usually just leave that open and let that sit like that. If you can see it, it's kind of hard to do, but you can see the hole right here. That's where your suction comes out. So you want to make sure that that's not covered. Someone said, well, if it covers it, it doesn't go over. You're not filtering the whole thing. Well, you are filtering the whole thing. You're just not getting this little spot. But usually it'll come out around it. But you see how dirty it got last time. So it does work. So then once you're done with that, I like to put some water in there. I just fill it right up to the top of the hole. So when you do put it back together, it'll run. Now, I personally, because I have carpet, you could always empty this water. I don't. I leave it the way it is. Just clean this up with a rag or a towel. Put this back. Get this out of the way. And just put your canister filter back together. Put this on. And sometimes you get some water coming out of it if you fill it too high. But I know this video is going a little too long, but it's all good. It's an educational video. So pretty much you want to get your suction back into the water. What I do is I usually keep this above the water, like hanging out at the top there a little bit. Because I know I got to get some water. I don't want to get the suction, the outlet, you don't want in the water all the way. You want to make sure it's a little bit out of the water. Because if you don't, it could back suction. And then the thing will never start. And it'll keep going and going and going. So you want to make sure that piece is, where you want it to be. Now, I usually move this. Sometimes you have to move this back a little bit just to get what you want. I can move this back where I had it before because it's kind of in the way. But so we're gonna keep maneuver this real quick. The light's not working, of course. Pain in my ass. Now make sure this is in the water. I just show you the suction, the inlet is in the water. I keep a filter on that side too. If you look back here, so I don't really worry about putting it too close to the middle. I put it pretty much next to it. But like I said, keep this above the water so when you turn it on, it's going to take a little bit to prime, but take it, and now you want to plug it in. Always make sure when you're handling stuff with electric that your hands are not wet, especially when you plug it into these stuff. I'll put you guys down for 1 second. So plug it in. You can hear that it needs to be primed. So what I do is take this and you just hit it a couple times, and I always stay in the fish room until that thing is done making that noise. You want a good flow in that. And I'm not going to sit here and go through the whole process, but if you guys ever change a canister, just make sure you remember that noise there is normal until it gets enough suction, enough prime in there for it to get enough water and to get the flow out. So this video is a little bit long, but I wanted to show you guys this real quick. Now, there's two misconceptions I want to clear up here. One is when you do a filter change and you get all that stuff in the water, people say, "Well, doesn't that hurt the fish?" No, it doesn't hurt the fish. If you ever go out to a river or ocean, you'll see. I'm not going to mention any kind of, pollution stuff, but fish have to deal with and swim with a lot of stuff in the water. So don't really be too concerned about getting any type of debris in the water. And also, I had a Facebook question and I got called out for it, and someone said I was wrong. But when you're doing a tank and you have a canister like that and you have a lot of oxygen going through the water, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that your fish are healthy. Okay, like if right there is just a regular, it just makes it's a bubbler. The bubbler doesn't really affect the way the fish live in the water. It helps them, but it doesn't affect the way the fish live. It doesn't. People I hear all the time, well, the fish doesn't have any oxygen. Like if a fish top of the tank gasping for air, it says no oxygen at the water. But if you're running a filter, there is some water moving at the top of the tank, which the fish need. But most of the time, if you have an issue with your fish swimming at the top of the tank, it's because you have an ammonia spike. Okay, these type of things that I'm doing here are what really prevents ammonia spikes. Any clogs, any type of filter not being clean. Especially when you use those cartridges, you can clog up the tank, and you want to always have something for the biological beneficial bacteria to stick onto. If you don't have that, then you're going to have an ammonia spike. That's why it's important to have a test kit in your fish room. I use this one. That's a pH one. I also have an ammonia, which most is really the only really one I use. The nitrates I'll check sometimes if I notice fish are having a hard time. But most of the time, if your ammonia is high and your pH level is not where it's supposed to be, then usually you have a problem with your tank. So it could be nitrates, could be nitrites, but usually if it's the nitrogen cycle, one of those is going to be off. And ammonia is the most common one. So that's what I tell people all the time. But I was on a Facebook group and they said you don't have enough, you don't have enough of the bubblers in your tank, and that's just not. It's not going to make your fish healthier by putting an air bubble in there, or even a sponge filter like that. So just be aware of that. And I wanted to clear it up. And your most important thing that you want to do in maintenance is making sure that you have a good source of beneficial bacteria for for the beneficial bacteria to grow. Lava rock, ceramic media, which I do have in here too. In this filter right there. Oops, that's actually more of a that's crushed coral that I have in this tank, just to keep the pH a little bit higher, or keep it where it's not going, where it's steady. That's your main thing, is keeping everything steady and keeping on top of your filters, and make sure that you have, if you are cleaning filters, that you have other sources of biological other sources of media that your beneficial bacteria can hook onto, especially if you have a seasoned tank like I do. I know this tank has got a bunch of stuff in there, but a bunch of stuff in here, and the gravel and stuff is pretty much where the beneficial bacteria is. So anyway, this thing is still trying to prime. I just keep on doing this until you get it. You don't want to fill these up too high. You want to make sure these filters are working. So you want to get that prime and get suction. So I don't fill it all the way. I fill it where it can grab it and suck some water into it. So that's pretty much it, guys. One more thing, like I said before, downstairs, I was going to do downstairs tanks too, but I do run all sponge filters down there like that, but
I also have a spare hang-on back filter. What I usually do is if I have to rinse the sponge filter out, I will run the hang-on back filter for 24 hours or so, and then I'll clean it out, and then run both for a little bit for like another, I don't know, about a week or two, and then turn one of them off if you don't need to run two filters. That's what I do downstairs. I don't want to go through a whole big spiel. I know this video is a little bit longer than I want it to be, but that's pretty much what I do with anything with a sponge filter. If you're only running sponge filters and you have nothing else in your tank, I always try to keep an extra sponge filter or something that I can have two sources where the beneficial bacteria can grab onto. Even if you got to put ceramic media inside the tank, you can put ceramic media over the top of the sponge filter too. Like I put it, I'll take that little tube off and put the ceramic media right there on top of that, and what it'll do is that ceramic media will keep a hold of the beneficial bacteria. So that's it, guys. That's what I wanted to show you. Like I said, this canister filter might take a little bit, but once you get it to flow, I just keep checking it and make sure that this is out of the water, and you can see how it's flowing. I'm gonna see if it's going out now. See a little bit, it's dripping a little bit right now, but eventually it'll go up, and then once it hits, and you'll stop making that noise. But keep priming them until you get it. And last but not least, I usually try to check the water that needs to top off. This one doesn't, but some of these tanks, when you do a filter change, you might want to top of the tank. I keep my water level up at the top of the tank, so I'll go through and I'll top these tanks off. All right, guys. So until next time, remember, if you can't own them, rehome them, and don't be afraid to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Eventually, I'll get some kind of graphics on that, but yeah, tell your friends. Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because I will answer them. Thanks, guys. See you next time.